The 8th generation of controllers are nearing the edge of perfect controllers in their own sense, and I have no idea where they can go from here, but I'm not a designer, so someone else is gonna have to figure that one out. So I am going to compare and contrast these two and determine which one must be better. So let's get started with appearance. While growing up, mainstream TV always threw the PS2 and PS1 controllers in your face. It was just a great design and it was appealing. It was that definitive controller of a video game. You just recognized it as someone playing a game. I have been playing games since I was born, and the PS1 was right there when I arrived, so I mean, it's just there. It's more appealing from how young I was seeing it. We call that one nostalgia factor in the business. On the PS4 controller, I love how the features are a huge part of the design, what with the speaker and the touchpad. While the Xbox One controller is less glossy, the PS4 controller has a different bottom texture which offers some sort of dynamic to its appearance. Listen, I'm just an art student, so I have to give it credit from that perspective. So the PS4 wins appearance due to nostalgia factor. Next category is feel. This is where I'm lost on how they could improve. Both controllers feel amazing. So I'm a PC gamer and mainly use these controllers with the PC games, and the 3 genres that require controllers are platformers, racing games, and third-person shooters. The Xbox 360 controller felt great on all of these. The PS3 controller, however, only really felt right on third-person shooters at most. Now the Xbox One controller is still an all-arounder, but so is the PS4 controller. The analog sticks and D-pads are in totally different spots, but both feel natural to hand placements. They also both do this thing with the sticks where they both have these thick rings around them that help improve grip. Buttons. Xbox One buttons feel better. The D-pad clicks and is a huge improvement over the Xbox 360 controller's D-pad, but Sony still has the superior D-pad. However, the share and settings buttons on the Xbox One controller are the best select and start buttons on a controller. They're spaced properly and click right, not soft or cheap like previous controllers. I appreciate how the shoulder and trigger buttons take up the entire back of the controller, and the Xbox button in the middle, whoever thought of putting it up that high deserves a promotion. Now while the PS4 has a good D-pad, I can't tell you how many times my big fingers have accidentally hit the share button while trying to operate the touchpad. On PC, this is like alt-tabbing, and on PS4, it just pauses my game with the share menu. I'm also still used to select and start, so these middle buttons not doing anything of real value is still off to me. And thankfully, the PS button is small and underneath the speakers. Good job, Sony. So when it comes to feel, I can't really choose a winner, so I'm just gonna give it to both. Let's talk quality and weight. The Xbox One controller feels compact and fucking heavy. Nothing shakes in this thing, and if you threw this at someone, you're gonna hurt them bad. I even found this picture. This controller is gonna go right through a wood desk or drywall. The PS4 controller doesn't have that heavy of a feel, but it's still compact and nothing shakes in it. Nothing feels cheap on either of these controllers by any means, but the Xbox One controller excels in its quality and weight. Now for our last category, we have features. Now let's take a look at the bottom of the controllers. The Xbox One controller has a legitimate 3.5mm headphone jack on it. That's dope shit. I use this when playing in bed and when I don't want to wake up Rita. The PS4 controller has this proprietary stuff on the bottom of it, and since none of that comes with it, I don't really care about it. Now on the back of the controllers is a mini USB jack, and here is why this is important. Both of these controllers can be used entirely wired by plugging these in. This isn't just a slot to charge your controller. You know who does that just to make this a slot that charges the controller? Nintendo. This controller sucks. Now the Xbox One controller takes batteries while the PS4 controller just charges. Since this is just judging out of the box, no batteries wins. That's about all I can talk about with features that can be seen, so let's talk technical features. This is a first generation Xbox One controller, meaning that it isn't Bluetooth, which is a negative. It gives it less wireless hardware that it's compatible with. You can't use this with the Steam machine natively, but the PS4 controller does work natively. And to use the first generation of Xbox One controllers on PC, you need to have this proprietary USB device to use in the computer. Devices that have Bluetooth built in can use the PS4 controller out of the box, but Bluetooth adapters are still cheaper than this dumb thing. However, the Xbox One controller is just, you know, a Microsoft product, so obviously it's going to be compatible with almost every PC game down pat. Meanwhile, the PS4 controller required software and drivers, and essentially how those drivers work is that it makes programs recognize your PS4 controller as an Xbox controller. Since they fixed the Bluetooth issue of the Xbox One controllers, the Xbox One controller definitely wins in features. Although I still gotta say that touchpads on controllers are a pretty dope thing. So here's the list. In the end, it's all just ridiculously subjective. I can't say either is objectively better. I just can't pick between the two, so I'll just pick another controller. Welcome everyone to King of Fighters 14. I am host number 1, Vet.
I am host number 2, Max.